Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dice Cast. I'm Russell-san, and with me I have...
Fishman.
When last we left off, Aquans and Jonas had just made it to a rather troubled village, though this time the trouble was, in fact, the inhabitants of the village as opposed to anything outside. The villagers were considerably xenophobic towards Aquans and almost anyone different, and they had a long list of bizarre religious taboos that included colors as well as other things. The Aquans Jonas also encountered a peaceful group of earth elemental creatures who were driven from their subterranean home, apparently by, as they described, some surface-dwelling humanoid.
Yep.
Heading down below, they found a girl who had taken shelter with them to avoid her abusive mother from the village, again proving that this village was not exactly worth our young wizard's time. Traveling further down this hole, they found another wizard had taken up residence down here and was excavating the various crystals down here. They managed to deal with him and dispose of the body and liberate and bring the now liberated earth elemental creatures back to their usual home, and they rewarded each of them with a crystal in turn.
Yep.
Returning to the surface above, the earth elementals were able to seal the crevice that had opened up, giving entrance to their underground domain. And they decided that they would take a circuitous route through the forest to avoid having to have any further contact with that horrible village, only to find out that as they were traveling through the woods, now dark, that the entire village was ablaze. Sending Alice to investigate before heading on further, they found that the village was under attack by the second of these thaumaturgist prototypes, these bizarre, artificially created sorcerers that the Court of the Seven seems to be employing now. The sorcerer prototype laid waste to the entire village and set it on fire, before itself apparently spontaneously combusting due to the unpredictable nature of its magic. Before they could leave further on, they found there was indeed one Court of the Seven sorcerer present, who was observing this presumably test of this creature's ability. Rather than face the sorcerer now, half spent from the previous fight against another powerful magic user, they decided to wait in the dark of the woods and allow the sorcerer to head on down the road. Along the south edge of the road, unfortunately, meaning the sorcerer was heading in the same direction that they were. Realizing that they would either have to confront the sorcerer now or let the sorcerer move on, they elected to set up camp in the woods at the night and let the sorcerer pass and then continue on in the morning. Yeah. And that's where we're going to be picking up right now.
Excellent.
All right, so just a quick overview of what happened last time. Your familiar is dead.
Yes, I would like to resummon her.
We also had you said the dome. We've the hut. I've set up the alarm spell, and we have Alice on watch currently. So before we do our usual watch routine for the night, is there anything else you want to do apart from resummon your familiar?
I want to cast Expeditious Retreat and change my transmuter stone back to Constitution saving throws.
All right, so that's easy enough to do. That takes 6 seconds. You cast the Expeditious Retreat spell. You are infused with the vigor that allows you to move at considerable speeds for short periods of time, and you use the transmutive energies of that spell to turn your stone back to fortifying your Constitution.
Yep.
Easy enough to do.
And then I want to resummon my owl.
Right. So that's going to take an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Much longer.
It's a ritual.
Yeah, it's a ritual. And you have to mark off the herbs, incense, and charcoal that we use for that.
Yep.
You will also need to make a fire for that.
Okay.
Yep, so we will make a small fire, presumably in the hut, I guess.
I don't think it really matters, but sure.
No, yeah. Well, that just means that it's not visible from the outside.
Yeah, I suppose that sorcerer is still maybe relatively nearby.
Also, you have to stay in the hut or it goes away.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
I go out and gather some firewood and kindling and bring it back, and I use prestidigitation to make a small campfire for us to utilize, and including for you for your ritual.
All right.
All right, you consign the components to the fire. It burns, and you resummon your familiar. I assume back in the form of the owl, which you prefer.
Yeah.
All right.
There's
So
no
roll.
reason to change that at the moment.
So roll a d4 for your familiar hit points.
All right, D4 -1.
Yeah, it's a d4 -1. So it's been a little while since we did this.
2.
2 -1.
No, 2.
Okay, so 3
3
-1.
-1.
So 2 hit points. So that's the average for familiars. So that's fine.
Yeah, down 1 from last time. Doesn't make any difference. They die at the.
I mean, it got killed by a fireball last
Yeah.
time. So
Mine was not lucky enough to roll a natural 20.
cats do have 9 lives, apparently.
Apparently. Well, 8 in your case now.
Oh, please, she's did more than just one.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to do during my watch, I'm also take first watch.
Yep. So we'll proceed to there now that we've done the pre-watch things. So the first thing I want you to do is roll for your watch. I'll do the perception check with advantage.
That'll be a 21.
21.
Wasted an 8.
Unsurprisingly, given that everything that has happened here in probably the past 2 hours,
Yeah.
the forest is dead silent.
Yeah.
Not surprising. So you said there's something else you want to do while you're on watch.
I want to try and make a potion of heroism. I messed it up last time. I still have 2 luck points.
Yes, you do.
I'm hoping
Right, and you still have some of the ingredients you need. So
yeah, I have enough for a few more attempts at this, but I don't like not making it. The DC is
I assume you still don't. Do you still not have enhanced ability prepared?
It's not prepared. It's not a ritual spell, so nothing I can do about it.
No, this is a straight roll, but you still have 2 points of luck, and it's a DC 20 for this on a medicine check.
Well, that is a 12 plus 5. Plus
All right,
5.
that's
Hold on a second. I gotta double check I'm proficient in it.
yes, that's plus. It should be +4, I believe, because your wisdom modifier is only +1.
Yeah, I know. I keep messing that one up. Hold on a sec. Yep, so +4.
So that's not high enough.
Not high enough. Luck
Where's
point
luck?
number 1. That's worse.
Second and last point of luck.
Last point of luck for the day. It started off 12, 10, 3.
All right, so for the second day in a row, you fail to. This recipe is much harder than you initially thought.
Yes.
You're just not getting it right. Your good luck not helping you this time.
Yep.
So, somewhat frustrated, I imagine.
Very much so.
You wake me for my watch.
Yes. We'll probably have to. I'm running out of those things. I think I'm going to probably have to wait for a calmer day when I can have enhanced ability prepared.
We're about to finish a long rest. You can prepare it the next day if you want. All right, so for my watch, I'm going to roll with advantage for perception. Okay. That's a 19.
Yes, I wasted an 18 on my perception.
Very much like your watch. This is all very uneventful. All right, so I'm going to. All right, so I'm going to spend the part of my time on watch while I stay awake to knock off 4 more hours from my transcribing into my new arcane grimoire. That brings me down to 30 hours remaining.
That was 32, and then the -4 is 28.
No, it was actually 34 apparently.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So we do get a long rest. So
Yep.
cover any lost hit points. We get our spell slots back.
I am going to change 1 spell. I'm going to take the spell magic off my prepared spells, and I will put on enhanced ability.
Okay. I get 2 no portents.
Yeah, I know we've got a big possible conflict coming up with some.
Oh, those portents are awful.
Well, someone's gonna have a bad day.
No, not what I meant. They're awful as in they're just like these are terrible. There's a 9 and a 10.
Oh, middle of the road.
Yes. All right. Do I want to change my spells around at all? I'm just gonna look through here quickly. No, no. Yeah.
Yeah, this is always difficult. So many spells and only a certain number you can pick.
It is, yes.
You
All
have
right, we're
one
in the
more than me
middle.
at least.
Sorry?
You have one more than I do at least.
Yes, we're in the middle of the wilderness at the moment, so I don't think tongues is going to come in handy. So I'm going to take and prepare that. And in its place, I am going to prepare. Hmm. Okay. No, that's not going to be too useful either. Out in the wilderness. All right, I'm going to actually prepare frost fingers, which I haven't prepared in a long time. Now that I have frost breath, but
Well, it is an area effect spell of
yeah,
lower can come in handy.
it can, yeah. And there's a lot of enemies about.
Yeah.
Also, it's a first level spell, which will mean I'm not, which means I don't have as many high level spells prepared because I had four third level spells prepared, and I can't cast four. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
always a
that's
problem.
very handy.
I always want to try out the new stuff and
Yeah,
end up hampering yourself in your repertoire really. I
that
wish.
is how it works.
Yeah.
All right, so we do wake up in the morning
Yep.
early, relatively early, earlier than before, because we basically camped just shortly after sunset.
Yeah, we had some stuff to do, so yeah, that's fine.
All right, the air
Days
feels
are getting shorter. That's right.
yep, the air feels quite chilled
Yep.
and damp,
Oh,
and it is overcast. There's clouds, definitely clouds gathering, which might not be for the worst fact, but it is definitely we're definitely getting further along in the months now, and winter is not far off.
well, I had bought that cloak, the big thick woolen one, the traveling cloak for when I was in Vern's Run.
Yes.
I'm gonna get it out and stay warm.
Yep. I am much more comfortable thanks to my boots of the Winterlands because this isn't even close to the amount of the temperatures that they let me be comfortable in yet.
Well, I'll just stand here shivering beside you just so you feel guilty.
The good news is the fire has all died out. It managed to burn itself out, and it didn't damage the forest too badly.
Well, that's good because it's inside our hut.
Yeah, because we were basically inside, or yeah, because we were camping in the woods to avoid being detected.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to have a damp, chilly, but we can manage to make a small fire for breakfast.
Yep.
So mark off another day's worth of food because we'll be for the day as we go through.
Yeah, not yet in any danger of running out, but something we should keep an eye on.
Yep. So as we are basically finishing up our breakfast, it just occurs to both of us that we're going to need to proceed with even greater caution going forward as we near the goal of this mythical fountain that we're heading towards.
Yes.
Because there is at least one court sorcerer in the area.
So we are currently
basically at the edge of that tree line, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, we have no choice. We have to head kind of in a southwest way. Because otherwise, I mean, I don't even know if there's a way around this way. The more direct route seems like prudent.
All right, well, that will lead to its own difficulties because we're no longer be able to follow the road that we have been using up until now.
No. Can I see those mountains yet?
In the distance.
I'm gonna get my owl to fly up high and just have a quick look around.
All right. Roll a perception check with advantage for her keen sight.
13.
13 with advantage?
The bad luck for the heroism potion is carrying over to today.
All right, then. Well, that's very low.
Yeah.
Well, it's above 10, so it's above average. So, but still.
Yeah, I'm just looking in general, trying to see if I can spot anything in the foothills in that direction. I know it's still, what, 2 days roughly away from here, but...
Yeah, it's probably a bit further. We probably have, depending on how today goes, because we're taking a more direct route, could be anywhere between 2 to 4 days, depending on how we do on navigating in the wilderness.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to change her instructions. I'm going to have her fly in a southwest pattern. According to our map, that's roughly where the whatever is, where the fountain is. It's going to have her fly in that direction until she gets to the foothills. I want to see what's there.
All right, well, the first thing is you did roll enough to get a basic view. It's not too detailed, but your owl does see storm clouds.
In the direction we're going?
Coming from that direction, heading toward and heading towards the east. Yes.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those days.
And she does see flashes of lightning.
Okay.
And if you pause and listen, you can hear thunder in the distance. It's still relatively far off, but we are heading in the direction of a storm.
That's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The one good news to that is, despite the fact the storm might slow down our travel, is if the Court of the Seven is, the Court of the Seven is heading towards the fountain at all, it'll slow them down as well.
In that direction, was there any sort of habitation?
Well, now that you are having, now I'm going to need a fresh perception check for this one because.
Oh, that's better. Dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah, a few days travel. There is indeed a relatively sizable village, smaller than Vern's Run, but bigger than some of the other settlements we've come across, and also still intact.
5 days, a few days.
I said a few days, depending. It's along the same route we would be taking either way, road or across country.
Yep.
And we will reach it before, if we're heading towards it, we'll reach it before we get to where the mount. Basically, it's at the foothill, where the hills are turning into the mountain range. So, and basically, we'll imagine 2-3 days to get to the village.
Okay, I am going to mark in my mind where that is. I'll look through her eyes, and then I'm going to pick which peak in the distance behind that to navigate by. So that might help us in heading in the right direction. But
all right, this will be a survival check.
Well, I have survival.
Yep.
Survival is intelligence based or
wisdom?
18.
18, right? Yes, because you rolled so well on her perception check to line that up, that is more than enough to keep that us going in that direction for this days of travel. That does bring us up to another issue you're realizing as you're weighing all these figures up in your head with this. That storm is moving relatively quickly.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about it.
No.
We can always just set up the hut and just wait it out.
We might be able to get 2 hours of travel in before you think we're under the cloud cover.
All right, let's just head on.
Do you have nature as a skill?
No.
No, I do. Okay, 1 second. Natural 20. Well, kind of a waste on that, but based just watching, now that you pointed us out and saying those storm clouds are moving unnaturally quickly.
Oh, great. Someone's summoning weather?
I'm just pointing it out to you that from that roll, that there's absolutely no way that just general weather conditions that a storm front of clouds like that can move that quickly.
So my owl's still over that village?
Your owl can see the village, not over it.
Not over it.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna sit down for a sec. I'm gonna focus on her senses because I can still do that even at this distance.
Yep.
I am gonna look at the storm and I want to see if I think it's some sort of conjured or some sort of sorcerous way of augmenting a storm. I don't know, something basically magical about it.
All right. So this is going to be another perception check for you with your owl senses.
Not Arcana?
Yep.
All right. No advantage either.
Well, perception through your owl senses, so advantage.
21.
21. All right. So as you're looking at your owl senses, you're examining the storm closely as you're trying to think of a magical means that can create this. You see something that stands out in the storm cloud now. It's difficult to see, but that roll was high enough. In front of the storm cloud, the front of clouds coming, there is a massive bird with its wings spread and flying through there, and the clouds seem to be trailing behind this bird, literally almost coming off of it. And there is rain and lightning. It's basically it's leaving a storm in its wake, and it is a truly massive bird.
Okay. Have I heard of such a creature?
You can now you can roll an Arcana check.
That's a 16 plus a whole pile to put it over 20.
Yeah, then you get a +7.
+7, yes.
23. Okay. You've vaguely heard of legends about creatures described as thunderbirds that
Yes.
can move at extreme speeds, apparently, and can have a certain degree of control over the weather. You don't know much. No one knows much about them, but they are usually just seen as often since they basically just govern the weather and don't really seem to cause any real problems, they're usually not seen as wicked creatures of any kind.
So, how big is this thing?
It's pretty big. It would be huge, if not bigger.
So, almost like giant sized?
Yeah, basically, it would be a giant bird. It would be larger than a giant eagle.
Oh, so not that big then.
Yeah, larger than a giant eagle.
Okay.
A giant eagle would be considered a large creature, so it would be huge or bigger.
Okay. All right. All right. I will unsummon her so she doesn't get struck by lightning. I just got her back. And then I'll fill you in.
Storm clouds at the moment, but yeah.
And I'll fill you in.
All right, so we have
coming.
Yeah, we have for all intents and purposes, mythical magical creature flying in our direction over an area where a mythical fountain is supposed to be.
Yeah, coincidence possibly, but who knows?
All right.
So
we know which way we can head if you want to go. We have 2 choices now. Without survival roll, you're comfortable enough to navigate across country if you wish, or we can return to the road.
No, the road won't get us anything. We could head back to the road, go south, but we're within a short period of time we're going to pass, so we're just going to be adding more distance onto it. I think we just head straight across.
True, but it will be easier to travel by a road, especially in a storm. If we,
Yeah. Nah, I grew up in the woods. I'm quite fine with even if I get soaked.
we might have to. I say we might have to change our minds at some point today, but we'll see how we can head off then now if you want.
Yeah, let's just head towards that mark I have in my mind for
Yeah.
navigating and see what happens.
So this is going to be a Constitution check because we are moving with some speed at the moment to try and get as much travel in today as we can before we're
Traveling with purpose.
under a storm cloud.
Constitution check.
Yes.
20.
I have a 9. Something in my breakfast is not agreeing with me.
Okay.
So that balances out.
Gonna slow us down a bit. Could have used one of your portents. They're sucky otherwise.
I could have, yes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that balances out around 14.
Yeah.
So we're not moving terribly slowly, but basically about where we expected, about 2 hours into this journey,
yeah.
We are basically under cloud cover now, and it is pouring rain.
Wait, can I get a now that it's closer? Can I get a good look at this bird?
Yep, you can make a perception check with advantage because you've seen it where it is.
Oh, apparently I have water in my eyes. 10.
Yeah, you know it's up there probably somewhere, but it's just there's so much rain and it's pouring, and you can't really hear it either because, like I said, there is thunder as well.
Yeah. Is this from my days of trekking through the woods, gathering herbs and stuff on the plateau? Is this dangerous weather for us to be traveling in, or is this annoying weather for us to be traveling in?
Well, as you say that question, there's a bolt of lightning we see come down, not near us, but considering just how vast these storm clouds are, basically it's solid overcast at this point, thunderheads, and there's probably going to be a lot of lightning, and basically we're probably going, if nothing else, to continue heading in the direction you want to do in this storm is going to require another survival check with a higher DC. And there is also the strike. Basically, yeah, there's a chance we'll be struck by lightning. It's random, though.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't see the point in pushing it at this point.
No, we've only managed to make a few hours headway at the moment before the storm hit. So.
All right. So I'm going to ritual cast Liam's tiny hut. And nice and warm and dry in there. Laid it out.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to ask you for a perception check. Roll 18. All right. So after we're in the hut, and I'm drawing us off with some prestidigitation because I can do that.
Yep.
We both see in the distance what looks like firelight.
In the direction we were going?
It's a little off the ways, but it's along the path. Yeah, it's not a straight line. It's basically you were going this way, and it's basically off the side a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna pop my owl into existence and have her fly that way, and I'll just sit and look through her eyes.
All right. So as your owl flies along,
yep.
I'm going to roll one thing here just to see if there's a bolt of lightning.
Frying my owl just got her back.
So there is a bolt of lightning does go off, and you're a little concerned, but it's not near your owl. It is not far away from where we are, though.
Are we protected in the hut from lightning? Apparently no magic can get through this thing, but...
I'm going to look up the spell for a second.
It doesn't say anything about lightning bolts, I can guarantee
Probably not. But it will say things about Yep, 9 creatures spell. Creatures and objects within the dome when you cast a spell can move through it freely. The atmosphere. All other creatures and objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and magical effects cannot extend through the door. Well, it doesn't mention anything about lightning.
What, a 1,000,000-volt lightning bolt? Not mentioned?
No.
Right.
It says it does specify other creatures and objects, of which lightning is neither.
Yeah.
And spells and magical effects, of which lightning is not either. Well, this might be considered a magical effect. Who knows? It's a storm generated by Thunderbird.
Yeah. Anyway.
So anyway,
Nothing we can do
you
with it.
think we're fine for the moment.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sit there, feeling myself completely safe as my owl flies towards that fire.
Okay. So as your owl moves on, you can move to the next graphic.
Too big? Oop, too big.
That's a bit too big. A bit closer?
Big?
Oh, a bit closer?
Nope.
That should be fine.
That's good.
Yeah. Alright. So as your owl heads on direction, she sees what basically looks like a fenced-off manor, which looks like it should basically be abandoned. Those fountains are filled with water now,
Yeah.
but they are not. But they are not active. It's basically just like they're just been filled to the brim with rainwater.
Yeah.
This is overgrown largely. It looks like it's been abandoned, except for the fact that there is the flicker of basically firelight from inside the windows.
So this is either Dracula's castle or Herman Munster lives here.
And you want to make a perception check with your owl?
Sure. 18.
All right. So it doesn't show up on the map, but there is, in fact, a stables adjacent to this mansion, and there are horses there.
Horses.
You
So
count.
either someone has taken shelter from the storm here, that we are doing, or it's not as abandoned as we think it might look like from the outside.
They look like horses that are saddled and geared up for a journey. There are 5 of them,
Yep.
and they are inside the stable away from the storm at the moment. We could head this way if you wanted to.
How long do I figure by foot?
Let's see. Depending on how quickly we can move.
Yeah.
Just at average, if we're not moving too slowly, maybe half an hour.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we're dry,
Yeah. We also don't know how long this storm is going to last.
true.
The hut does
Well-
have a duration, but it does have one.
Yeah, it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it's early in the day. We'll have to go check it out.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be leaving the hut, which means it will be dispelled.
Yeah.
Are you going to do anything with your owl?
I'm gonna have her fly in a circle above this so I can use her as
So I can try hitting it with a lightning bolt again, okay?
Yeah. Well, either her or us, so someone's gonna get fried.
Alright. So, there's going to be another constitution check here to see if we can speed up the process or not getting there. It'll determine how quickly we can get there.
19.
5. No, sorry, 6.
You rolled a 2?
Yeah, I did roll the 2. Yeah, I
Am I
probably
carrying you?
no. But it is going to take us the full half hour to get there.
Doesn't matter. I'm sure after about 2 minutes we're stoked.
Alright, so, as we head there...
Yeah.
Oh, good grief! Okay. I just rolled 2 natural 20s.
What does that mean?
Well, your owl will probably get to report this
Yeah.
as it happens. So there is a bolt of lightning
Yeah.
that strikes the stables
Oh.
of this manor. Uh,
Fry some horses.
so the stable is on fire, obviously. The horses are inside the stables.
Oh. If the stables are on fire, they're gonna run.
Yeah. Okay, so all 4 of the horses manage to break free, basically break the reins they're holding and the ropes that are straining there, and they run off.
Yep.
A horse has absolutely no issue leaping this fence. They run off in whatever direction suits their fancy, basically. One does not.
One didn't make it.
The stable looks like is on fire and looks like it's maybe falling apart and collapsing in at the moment.
How far away are we?
Well, that's the second. That's where we come to the second natural 20.
What, the lightning bolt is hitting us?
It's coming down on top of us, and dexterity saving throw for both of us, please.
Oh, this is not good for you.
No, this is not good for me.
I got +7 on that. 22.
You have +7 on dexterity saving throw.
I have 2 rings of protection, remember?
I rolled a 6.
+2. You rolled a total of 6?
I only have +1 on. Yeah. All right. Where are my d10s?
Oh, good God.
This could be painful.
Yeah, do I have time to cast Expeditious Retreat and change my my stone?
No, I'm afraid not. This, if it was anything but, I mean, this is a natural 20 for this. We probably wouldn't be being struck otherwise. Okay. Okay, you managed to roll a... What again?
22.
You're fine.
I don't get hit at all?
Woohoo! No, that roll. Alright. I take 14 points of lightning damage.
Ow. No, that's not too bad.
4d10. One was a 1.
Well, still could have been a lot worse.
Yep. Oh, and we are temporarily deafened for...
What?
just for a round. But it's like, yeah, basically that, in addition to me getting struck by lightning, both of us are... Our ears are ringing, and it's just like, we're both dazed. Basically, we are both knocked almost to our, basically off our feet when that happens.
Well, see, I'm deaf. I'm going to put my mind into my owl. And is anyone coming out running out of this house because of the barn being struck by lightning and the horses running everywhere? Is there any kind of panic in that direction?
Yes, there is.
What do I see?
Alright, you see 3 armored men coming out.
Yeah.
And they are basically running with buckets, bowls, pans, anything they can basically grab their hands on, running to the fountain there, which is overflowing with rainwater.
It's pouring rain.
Yeah.
And they're wearing metal armor in the thunderstorm.
You can roll a perception check if you want to get better detail.
Sure. 18.
Looks like splint mail.
And maybe splintered soon.
Oh. So splint mail is metallic, yes.
Yeah.
It's often a cheaper alternative to plate mail.
Yeah. Very heavy.
They also are armed with look like long swords and short swords.
Okay.
There, with that roll, you can determine that there is a human, a
Yeah.
half-elf, and a half-orc, all male.
Okay, and just the three of them,
You only see 3 of them running out.
even though I saw 5 horses.
It's not 5 horses, yes.
Okay.
They seem to be trying to fight the fire a little bit. I went to roll to see how effective this is.
It's spitting on a bonfire.
Natural 1. Somehow they're making it worse. The rain, on the other hand, it's a heavy fall of rain, and and the flames are being put out, but it has absolutely nothing to do with them.
All right. I think we should just keep on going.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna keep my owl flying in the circle above. Every few minutes, I will pop in and have a look, see what's going on with these idiots, and then as we get closer, I might change my plan.
Right. The 3 of them do head back in short order as soon as the flames have gone out, and they realize that the shelter that they are taking, or the house that they are living in, whichever one it turns out to be, is not going to burn down.
Okay.
We also hear another lightning bolt strike in the distance, nowhere near us, but we are able to approach the fence.
All right.
So we are at the external area here, just at the bottom of the end of the map where the fence is, the gate is to the fence.
Okay.
Right. It is still pouring rain. There's still lightning. Your owl is here. The flames are out.
Yep.
Are we going to try and... The gate is closed. You don't know if it's locked.
How tall is the fence?
The fence is about 5 feet.
Climb over.
You could, yep.
Yep.
There are basically like points coming out of the fence. Like,
Yeah, I know. It's not. They're not meant to skewer things. This usually this decoration.
right. So I will ask for a dexterity check to get over the fence, though.
Okay. Just a check.
Just a check.
11.
I rolled a 9, both of which are sufficient. So I have slightly more difficulty than you because the fence is slippery. It's soaking. It's been pouring rain for the past 2.5 hours. And your owl is still circling up ahead.
And summer.
Alright, so you unsummon your owl. Alright, so we are now in the courtyard, which is overgrown with, as you can see, basically, just grass and weeds mostly. It's just,
I want to circle around to where the barn is and see if that horse is okay.
right. So the stables would be on the, are on the, basically, this is the right of the manor.
Yep.
As we circle around,
So over here.
yeah, over to that side, yes.
Is the horse still alive?
No. The horse is very, very, very much dead. So it is burnt out at this point and collapsed in on itself, which is probably what killed the horse, you think.
Any of the horses that were escaped running around, are they within sight? Can I see them?
You can make a perception check if you want.
I'm gonna pop my owl back out for a few seconds to
Okay.
make this a
So
more
with advantage. It's still going to be fairly high DC.
natural 20.
Natural 20! Your owl sights, you're thinking you'd see a single horse running off in the distance. But they're not stopping.
Alright. That's a waste.
First time since we've been traveling out on the road, you're actually grateful the fact that we did not bring mounts of any kind.
That was what we do. There's so many times. I mean, that little river ride that we did alone, I mean, our horses would be back that way. We'd have to go back and get them.
Alright, you're, with a natural 20, you do note, your owl does notice one other, a peculiarity in this burnt out stable, basically.
What's that?
Well, basically, with that, the horse has, which is burned, admittedly, and crushed, does seem to just have some sort of dried blood on it, you realize. Well, not right. Not dried's not the right word. You'd have to get a closer look at it, but you've noticed it. With your medical skills, you could probably take a look at that.
So a horse was in a barn, got struck by lightning.
The barn was struck by lightning.
Got on fire,
The roof was on fire. Caved in on top of the horse.
crushed the horse.
Yeah.
And it's raining still, and then there's dried blood still.
There's something unusual about there's a blood stain basically
Okay, I'm going to
on this
go
horse.
to the horse. Well, it's not too dangerous. And I will.
The most dangerous thing at the moment is when we get hit by lightning again. At this point,
All right.
and that's going to be the same thing as long as we're out here.
All right, med check.
Okay.
I do have medicine, so that's a 19.
All right. It's 19. So you go over to this blood and you look down at it, and all right. The first thing you're certain is this didn't come from inside the horse. You don't think?
So we've got some dried blood on it before all this stuff
It's
happened.
not dried blood. It's coagulated blood.
Okay. There is coagulated blood on a dead horse that's been burned and crushed. It's not its blood.
Yeah, and after you're looking around with your earlier natural 20 and the high roll on this, you
Yeah.
can see just basically like a little bit more of it.
Where?
It's like leading off in a trail.
Okay, I will use my survival skills and I'll try tracking that trail.
Well, I'm not going to have you roll for this because it does go outside of where the barn is. Basically, you're just seeing like trace amounts of this that have not been washed away yet.
Alright. And it goes where?
Just out the back from where this barn, the stable would be. Basically, you can walk through the stable from either end.
Follow it?
You follow it out? Okay. It just goes out the back end, at which point you can't follow it further because it's been washed away, you suspect.
And I have no idea what would create this.
You're just thinking it over, and it looked like coagulated blood, which usually, because you've seen dead bodies before, some of them, sometimes individually, they're moving around and leaking this stuff.
Okay. Alright. That's something to file away for later, I guess, because we can't track it. I want to do a periphery of this, just go around the periphery of the main the building here.
Yeah.
And have a peek in the windows, see if I can see what's going on in there.
Alright, so I'm going to ask you this. Are you doing this discreetly at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for a stealth check first.
Right.
With advantage because of the storm.
Well, that's good.
Alright, so how good?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, alright. Alright. And now I'm going to ask for a perception check as you look in.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Alright then.
What a waste of these rolls, I tell you. Could have used those when I was trying to make the heroism potion.
Alright, so inside the manor,
Yep.
you basically see a large dining room on this side. There is a long table, and inside there is also a fireplace with a fire set up,
Yep.
which is where the firelight is coming from, and you can see 5 people in there.
Alright, the 3 split-nailed guys are in
The
there.
three, the 3 basically fighters for all intents and purposes who are dressed in armor before.
Yep.
They are sat at the table, seemingly enjoying a meal,
Mm-hmm.
and seem to be boisterously speaking to one another.
Okay.
There are 2 other individuals to note there. One is separate from the table, just basically has like dragged a dining room chair off to near the fire,
Yep.
and is huddled beside there in a basically what looks like a black robe with a cowl over their head,
Mm-hmm.
and just it doesn't seem to be in the same celebratory mood as the rest of them.
Okay.
at the moment. And there's also just an end table dragged aside, and there's a plate of food and a drink there. But mostly this individual is huddling next to the fireplace.
What about the last person?
The last person is a woman. And she's... she looks somewhat out of place in the rest of the group, who look like 3 mercenaries and just a cloaked and a robed figure. So
Yeah.
she looks more like a young woman who would probably be seen not look out of place in any village nearby, but given the fact that she's in the abandoned manor, or well, what looks like an abandoned manor with a few others who might be mercenaries or adventurers, she does seem a little out of place.
So she just, what, dressed in a peasant dress?
Her dress is a little unusual in the fact that it seems to be basically it's not a single bit of fabric. Basically she's got a top and a skirt almost for its purposes, and it exposes some of her midriff.
So she's going to a rave later on, kind of thing. Okay, and she's at the main table with the rest of these guys, just drinking and celebrating.
She seems to mostly just be paying attention, just involved in whatever, just listening to them. She does look over in your direction at one point, but you're able to avoid being seen.
Okay.
That's all you can really see in there. They seem to be quite preoccupied.
If they're being boisterous, can I make out what they're saying?
You rolled a natural 20?
Yep.
It sounds like they're recounting some sort of story or battle of a battle or an adventure they were in some time ago. They seem to be trying to entertain the young woman, as far as you can tell from that. It's muffled, but so you can't make all the details. But from that, you can. And also bear in mind, there's a storm outside with lightning and thunder. But from that roll, you're able to piece that together.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I can stir this up a little bit. I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion.
Okay.
I'm going to have it centered on the fireplace, and I want to have a ghostly figure pop out and scream. It doesn't last very long.
I believe minor illusion you can do a visual effect or an auditory effect, not both.
Can't do both?
I'll double check, but I'm fairly certain.
I just thought the detail and duration were really short. But I could be wrong. I haven't cast this in forever.
Minor illusion. You create a sound or an image of an object within a range of loss direction. Illusion also ends if you dismiss it. Yeah, you create a sound. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, so you can't really make a figure either, I'm afraid.
Alright, so what I'll do instead is I'll use my Ring of Spell Storing, and I will cast Silent Image.
Okay, in which case there is no sound.
Yes, but it lasts longer.
You also can technically have both going at the same time.
I can?
Well, so minor illusion is not concentration.
Oh, okay.
So you can have your silent image show up, and then a moment later have it scream, basically.
Alright, that's what I'll do then. I'll cast
The good
Silent
news
Image.
is, basically, from the windowsill that you're at to the fireplace is within 30 feet, which is the range of minor illusion. Okay.
I'm going to have a ghostly figure drift out of the fireplace, and then I'm going to have its mouth open and look like it's in the shape of a scream. And while that's doing that, I will cast Minor Illusion and have a scream in the room.
All right. Let's see how this goes. All right, your spell save DC is what?
My spell save DC is 15.
All right. Alright, so your illusion goes off, the scream happens, the ghostly image wails, and then you have advantage or you have it stick around.
I will just have it float around the room, head towards the three fighter types.
Okay, two of them basically are startled and stand up in alarm. One literally seems to have enough drink to knock over his table and fall backward, the chair and fall backwards,
Yep.
and has to clamber to his feet. The one at the head of the table, however, who seems what?
Girl?
No, this is the remaining mercenary-looking individual.
Oh, okay, the one by the fire.
Yeah, no, not him. There were three of them, remember?
All right. So the three.
Two of the mercenaries
Yeah.
were startled by your illusion. This is that they've one's knocked over the chair, one is stood up in alarm, and the other one's having to get to his feet.
Ah, okay. I got the numbers wrong the first time. Okay.
The third mercenary takes notice of this, but doesn't seem to be too startled.
Yeah.
The hooded robed figure looks up at this and seems to make the dismissive noise.
Yeah.
And the young woman seems mildly interested in this, but that's about it. So you've thoroughly freaked out two of them.
I'll have it dissipate.
Okay. So you have it dissipate just as the two you really freaked out were reaching for their swords.
I just wanted to see what we're up against. I mean, it is a minor illusion, so.
Right? So. Now what?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if they're.
Yes, well, I say that to you. Now what?
Right. Well, do I get the impression that this is like looking in that window and seeing everything I see? Do these people live here, or this is just people taking a break from a storm?
I guess that would be an insight check.
Seven.
Hard to tell. They came out to try and rescue. They came out and tried to stop the fire in the stables, but that's about it.
Most likely they're just trying to save the horses. But they don't seem terribly upset that they are horseless either. But there were the same number of horses as there are people.
Yes, there are 5 horses, and there are 5 people in there.
Alright, we got 2 choices. Getting tired of being in the rain.
Yes, I imagine you are.
We can just find a window to go into and...
There's a door.
Yeah, we can pull up in there. Or we can knock on the door.
You, just to, as we're having this discussion, a bolt of lightning strikes just outside the fence.
Alright.
We are definitely taking risks being out here.
I'm going to go up to the main door.
Alright.
And is there a big knocker?
Yep.
I'm going to knock it 3 times. Boom, boom, boom.
Alright. On the third knock, the door actually does open a little bit.
Not closed, like locked, or they opened it?
No one's standing there as you look in.
Yep.
Right. So you can move along to the next graphic now if you want.
Is that too big?
No, that's fine. Alright. So this over here is the door.
This is...
That's the door, yes. So that's opened a little bit, so you can see in here a little bit.
Yep.
So there's wooden flooring, and there is a thoroughly peeling red carpet in here, which is stained and mildew, and doesn't look like it's been maintained at all.
Yeah, so that answers my question, I guess.
Yeah. Across the way, there is another door here. Is it right here?
Hold on a sec.
No, it's right there in the middle. You're basically right where your cursor is.
Right there?
That's the door right there, yes. That's open ajar, and there's firelight spilling out from there, and you can hear voices in there. And you can probably hear people moving about.
Okay. Well, it's rainy out here. I'm going to step inside.
Okay. So we step in.
Yep.
Are we going to close the door behind us?
Nope.
No? All right, so water is now pouring in.
That's fine. Not like we're gonna ruin this place. It's already a mess. Yellow. Hello? Anyone here?
You you hear a bit of a muffled argument in there, and you hear and you finally hear someone say, "Fine, fine, just calm down. You're making something out of nothing." And you hear footsteps approaching the door.
Okay.
Okay.
So
The door opens.
As they're approaching, and I get you to cast prestidigitation and clean me off, dry me out.
I cast prestidigitation and dry us off. Okay, fine. We're standing in an open door, pouring rain coming in, so we will get soaked. If we...
Yeah, I'll just. The door is not wide open. It's just ajar.
No, but have you wide enough for us to enter?
True.
Yes.
We'll step out of the rain.
Okay, we step out of the rain. The door opens, and stepping out looks like to be a human man, one of the mercenaries.
Yep.
In what appears to be his probably mid to late 30s.
Okay.
He was the one who was not surprised by or startled by your illusion.
Okay. Not my illusion. I don't know what you're talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. So, yes. But anyway, he was the one who was not surprised. Just looks like two more travelers, you hear him say into the room. It says, "Godfrey, Percival, just calm down a little bit, will you? You're acting like this is your first campaign."
I take it you guys are taking shelter from this horrible storm as well?
Yes, and we don't have much choice at this point. Anyway, our horses have all gone off.
Oh, is that what I saw? I thought I saw a big flash and some fire. That's what got our attention.
Yeah.
I want to do an insight check on this guy.
Sorry?
I want to do an insight check on this guy.
Alright, you roll an insight check. What are you looking for?
Just his general disposition. Like, is he amiable sort of person, or does he look like he's sizing this up?
Okay, so what'd you roll?
19.
19, alright, that's quite good. He seems relatively amiable as you are talking to them. He seems to be taking, despite the fact that he's just lost all their horses to the storm, seems to be taking it rather well. He seems to be in relatively high spirits, despite anything, though that could just be the fact that they've been celebrating. It could be alcohol in the system. But he also basically generally is a little annoyed with the ones you refer to as Godfrey and Percival. And you assume are the other two, the half-orc and the half-elf. You saw it earlier. The two who were taken in by your illusion. And so, well, you are welcome to join us in the dining room if you wish. We have some food and drink, and there's a nice roaring fire that we managed to get going. That'll warm the chill from your bones.
That's awfully generous of you. Sure, take you up on your offer.
Right. So we enter the dining room, I assume.
Yeah.
Right, so we go in, and we see the remaining four that we saw through the window. So there's Godfrey and Percival are either one is the half-orc and one is the half-elf. They don't know which is which yet.
Nope.
They are looking a little more nervous than their leader, as far as you can tell at the moment, because he seems to be the one who is, he seems to have been the one who went to look and be calling them out on basically what he perceives as their cowardice over nothing. There is also the robed and cowled figure still sitting in the chair here by the fire, with inn table.
Yep.
Who is looking over at us with what you can basically assume is a mix of curiosity and suspicion.
Okay.
And there's a young woman who is it's not visible here, but they're sat at the other end of the...
Oh, up to the top end?
If you just scroll up. Yeah.
She's over here?
No, that was where no, that seat's empty.
Yeah.
These two seats here, the next two seats down here on the right,
Yeah.
one of those is on the floor now, and that's seems to be where the other two are sitting.
Right.
And just across there, on the other side, by the table at the end. No, no, back up. That seat there, that's where the young woman is sat.
Right. Okay.
Okay. The individual the man who rose to greet us, heads back to his seat and takes a seat by the side, and seems to pat the young woman on her hand. Says, "See, absolutely nothing to be concerned about." Says, "Don't mind them. It's just the alcohol going to their head."
All right. Those three, I kind of understand. The mercenaries.
Yes.
I want to have a good
They
look
do
at her.
fit your description. What you would think of mercenaries? People who have been through, who basically sell their swords and fight for a living. Basically, that's what they look like to you.
I want to have a look at her. Does she look like someone who's hired them, or I don't know? I have no idea. I just want to do an
You
insight
can
check.
roll a insight check again if you want.
Yeah. Oh, I did one better. 20. Dirty.
It just comes back to the fact that yes, she does seem somewhat out of place in all this.
Yeah, the other four I can see, but I can't see her.
The first thing they notice is, well, she's just basically wearing rather fine clothes, which are definitely designed to be. They're definitely meant to be fine clothing that one might wear, basically just around a village or. Let's put it this way: if this manor was in better condition, she wouldn't look out of place in this sort of setting. But it's the fact she has no obvious weapons. She has no armor of any kind. She does not look like the sort of individual who would be out adventuring.
No.
She does stand out in that regard.
And what does she think of our entrance?
She doesn't seem to be. She does not seem to be taking it one way or the other. Really, she's noted that we're here,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
That is very unusual. And all right, last guy by the fire. He thinks us as possible enemies, or
His reaction is probably a bit more what you might expect to someone who is taking shelter in what, for all intents and purposes, is an abandoned building, and is just not entirely sure why we're here. Basically, like it's a bit of like the look on his face is okay. These two strangers seem to have shown up, but he says, "Why are they here? Are they just here to seek shelter in the storm, or are they just causing trouble?" It's basically what you get. Like I said, it's a mix of curiosity and suspicion.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. Nice day we're having.
Yes. The human mercenary who says, "My name is Frederick." He says, he says, he turns to the half orc and says, "This is Godfrey, and this is, and my compatriot here who's getting up the floor is Percival."
Yep.
And he says, "This charming young woman is Lila."
Okay.
And our dour traveling companion over there is Reynard.
Right.
We have you see something a look or like a puzzled look says, actually come to think of it, says, where's the sixth member of our band? He says, looking up. He says we haven't seen Joffrey in a little bit.
My name's
here.
This is Aquans.
Yeah, the look between the three of them are yes. Where is he? And you hear the robed figure Reynard as he just says, "I was wondering when you would start to get around to wondering where he wandered off to." I honestly thought you would go and look for him when you went to see to the stables.
Yeah. Is he responsible for that blood we saw out there?
You just say that casually?
Hey.
Alright, let's, we're gonna see how they react to that. Alright, the three mercenaries look up at this in complete shock. What blood? The young woman also, basically, doesn't voice anything, but also looks somewhat startled and alarmed. The robed figure doesn't seem to pay this any mind at all.
Well, go check for yourself. I'm gonna warm myself by the fire. Does anyone care to go look?
The three mercenaries are heading out to go take a look, yes.
This is one very strange little group. If we were on an island somewhere and the boat that got us here was all left, and I would say that we're going to start dying one by one.
So, for the second time this night, this day, it's not night, it's just dark out because of the storm. Frederick, Godfrey, and Percival all head outside.
Oh, we're going to get fried by lightning.
You do realize at this point, since the amount of time we've been out there, they may not actually find anything. I'm actually going to roll to see if they do. Natural 20! I was going to have them roll at advantage with them looking at that, but first roll's a natural 20. And they come back in and says, well, so they come back in basically about 5 minutes later, says, they're laughing a little bit, says, well, honestly, I was expecting it to be a little bit more concerned by that. And he says, I mean, one of our horses is dead. He says, it's not that strange. He says, the poor creature was killed when the barn collapsed, the stables collapsed on it, and it was on fire.
But it's not its blood now, is it?
They don't seem to understand that. They don't have your medical skills. They were perceptive enough to find it, but they don't have your knowledge of medicine to determine that.
It's okay. No big deal.
It says, well, that was a bit of a shock, but that was enough to get the adrenaline pumping, I believe, for the evening. At this point, Reynard speaks up again. The robed figure, who basically does look very much like a wizard, you think?
Yeah.
Looks at him, says, and your missing compatriot? You're not concerned about him now? It does seem like that slipped their mind in this, all the the excitement there. Says,
I say to them, well,
he has been gone a little while, hasn't he?
Maybe he got eaten by the Thunderbird. I'm looking at the wizard-like guy when I say that.
All right, so you want another reaction roll coming up?
Yeah.
More of a reaction this time. You get quite the look of surprise from the young woman. The three mercenaries seem to think that you're making a joke. You think they've been drinking a little heavily based on the amount of wine bottles present, and that they're in relatively high spirits, and I think you're just making a joke. But there is a little bit of a look on Frederick, who does seem to be the leader of them, noting that he is one of his men seems to have wandered off and hasn't been seen.
Yeah. What about the cowled fellow, the wizard? What was his name?
You basically got a raised eyebrow and look over at you. Is that he's trying to tell if you're being serious or not? No. And seems to just dismiss it as if does not believe you. Yeah, he rolled an insight check and got a natural 1.
Well,
He doesn't believe you're telling the truth, even when you're telling the truth.
yeah, it's not a natural storm, if you're wondering.
Frederick, returning to his seat, says, well, a storm is a storm. All storms pass.
True. So I'm nice and warm by the fire now.
Yes.
All right. Have lunch.
Alright, so we basically break out our mess kits to have basically lunch for all the tours. This is our second meal of the day. and far more pleasant accommodations than we had for our breakfast this morning.
What are you talking about? We were in the hut. Alright. Once lunch is done, and these, whatever they are going about whatever they're doing, I think it's time to search this place. See if I can find their missing compatriot.
Alright. So, there is no other way out of this room apart from the door there.
What? Oh, this. Alright, it's this door in the middle of the area.
The dining room only has one exit. Yes.
Right.
There is another door on the on the wall there at the top of the screen.
Yep.
That we can go through, which presumably leads to the rest of the manor.
Alright. Well, let's say, well, I'm gonna go have a look around, make sure things are secure. I head in. You gonna come along?
The mercenaries just seem to be settling in. It says, nope, we're going to stay here. It says, and just enjoy ourselves and continue to entertain Laya with our tales of our adventures.
Alright.
The robed figure says, well, in that case, I think I'm going to take a step outside of the room and get some fresh air. He says. They don't seem to be sorry to see him leave the room.
Yeah, what do they think when I said I'm going to go look for their missing compatriot?
They seem to think that it's probably a good idea that someone does that, but they don't. But they.
Okay. They obviously don't care about this fellow, but that's fine. Maybe it wasn't that easy to get along with.
Lila, the young woman, just watches us exit the room, basically.
Alright. Okay.
Now, there are now 3 people standing in this in the foyer here for all intents and purposes. The 2 of us and Reynard.
So I say to Reynard, are you coming along with us, or you just stretch your legs?
You 2 seem to have more sense than the rest of those fools, so I think I will accompany you a little bit. Says that Joffrey's been gone for a few hours now, and they don't seem to be even paying it the slightest bit of mind.
Well, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but that entire group of people just doesn't make much sense to me.
He says, I've only known them for about a week. He says, and I can completely concur with your hypothesis. He doesn't seem to be too fond of his traveling companions.
She fits the least of all.
And it says, she seems to be taking shelter here herself, is what she said.
Oh, she's not part of your traveling group?
No. It was the 4 of them and myself traveling on their horseback. We took shelter here from the storm, especially when I was I definitely was chilled through to the bone, and they were equally miserable.
Yep.
And we found her taking shelter here already.
Alright, so that makes a little bit more sense now. I'm not saying this aloud, but I suspect that there's something very unusual about her.
It says, the 4 of them seem to be acting like besotted fools around her. Personally, I'm not entirely inclined to trust her, but she's hasn't done much apart from seemingly ingratiate herself with those 4.
3 now.
Yes.
Let's go see if we can find number 4. I want to do that first. I want to search this place. I have an option for you if you are interested in it.
Who was you saying that to?
Aquans.
Me? Okay.
Could you have Alice sneak her way back in there and listen?
I can try. Yep.
I'm going to try and say that quietly to you.
Okay. You can make a stealth check if you want.
Yep.
Oh.
7.
7. Well, I
That's
think
below
that-
passive, so it doesn't matter.
he's also paying attention. He didn't roll much better, but yeah, he does. You don't think he he notices you whispering to me. That's about it.
I lean over to him and said, just ask him to go and send a familiar in there to keep an eye on things.
He nods in understanding. Alright, so... Alright, stealth for Alice, that's 14.
If they're drunk, they're
They're not paying attention, so it just comes down to their passive perception, which is under that. And hers... Alright. As far as we know, Alice is able to sneak in relatively undetected.
okay. We'll just have her listen.
Okay.
All right.
You want to say what they're saying now, or just have her stay there?
It'll be interesting to know what their initial conversation is once we leave.
Alright. So as we're heading through the door, I decided this seemed to be continuing their story.
Yeah, let's search the house.
Alright, so we just go through the door. So it comes... The rest of this... the manor does look like it's relatively intact, but it's definitely... Its splendor has deteriorated over the years.
I can see that.
Alright, so the question is, what are we looking for exactly? Because there are several more rooms on this floor before we even go up the stairs to the next floor.
They have a missing companion.
Yep.
I want to find evidence of foul play, body, something. I'm looking for any indication that their partner or whatever has been eliminated.
Alright. Are we going to try doing this room by room?
We don't really have a choice.
Okay. That's going to make this a very high DC, unfortunately, because we're searching a lot of rooms.
Alright.
Alright. So you can roll an investigation check with my assistance. I'm going to roll a separate one for Reynard.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. Right. So Reynard has a 17. So with my assistance, what do you roll?
23.
Alright, 23.
Oh, sorry, 24.
24, okay. So as we... So we're basically searching this floor.
Yep.
We're not making a lot of progress when, in one of the rooms, you notice that there's basically a door that looks like it's been jammed.
Jammed open or jammed closed?
Closed.
Okay. Jammed closed with what?
Nothing. It's just closed. And when you try to open it, it doesn't move.
Oh, okay, I got you now.
Doesn't seem locked.
There seems to be something behind it.
Something is sticking in keeping the door from opening all the way.
Well, I haven't cast any spells today. I am going to cast a second level spell.
What's that?
I'm going to cast Enhanced Ability. And I'm going to go for Strength.
Okay. Good. Roll strength.
And then I'm going to try and force this door.
Alright, roll with advantage.
Does the full strength give me any strength bonus?
Disadvantage.
13.
13. Okay. You're pulling and you're pulling and you're pulling, and you pull something off, and it turns out to be the door handle. However, as you're looking at the door handle and the hinge and everything else, you notice that it looks like this is you weren't the only. Someone else seems to have damaged this door, this handle, at the very least. You hear something fall off on the other side as you pull them through. You assume it's the other end of the door knob.
I'm gonna have a look through the hole that I've just created.
Okay. Roll a perception check with disadvantage because you're looking through a very small.
I'm gonna have my owl do it instead, because then when it might get rid of the disadvantage at least.
It will be a straight roll then, yes.
18. And she has dark vision.
She has dark vision, which is good because there is no light in this room. So just to give you basically, this is the kitchen area. So you assume that what leads through here is the pantry.
Okay.
And just from that roll, as your owl is looking through, she thinks she can see what looks like a pair of boots.
Empty boots?
Nope, not empty. There are feet in them. Those feet are attached to legs, and they are lying on the floor. Inside there.
So there's a body in there, in other words.
There's a body in there, yes. But the first thing that catches your owl's eye are the boots.
I'm gonna have a look through her eyes and can I do a quick med check just to see if this person looks like they're dead or alive from this distance?
This will be a disadvantage, but you can try.
Oh, a pair of 12s plus 4, so 16.
They're not moving. It's the best you can tell from just visually examining through your owl senses.
Alright, I come away from the hole and say, looks like we found, what's his name?
Joffrey was apparently the name of the missing individual.
There's a body in there.
Are we going to open this door, I ask you?
How does he respond?
He says, you think he is dead? He says, he's showing mild surprise at that.
Yeah, can we get some of the burly types in here to knock this door down? Because I tried.
Okay, so are we going to go back and try and get them then?
I'm gonna stay here.
Okay, so you're sending me and Reynard back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep an eye on the body. I watched this movie. Y'all head out. Movie. The body's not there when you get back.
All right, so the two of us head off.
Yeah.
So you were left alone in the pantry for a little bit.
Got my owl.
Yep.
Keep an eye on the body.
Rain is still pouring outside. Occasional flash of lightning and clap of thunder. Only about 2 minutes goes by before you hear footsteps coming down the hall to the kitchen.
Yep.
And for the first time, you see all the known occupants in this house assembled in a room other than the dining hall. Everyone showed up when, obviously, in fact, we might have found a body.
Yep. All right. Point
All
to
right.
the big strong guys. Have at her.
All right, I'm going to see if they can force the door. Natural 20
Yeah, there you go.
and a 5. But it was an advantage, so the 20 is. The three of them, seem to make a great deal of show, mostly for Lila, you think, of kicking the door in. And it is kicked in. Just so we're clear, that door opened outwards.
Okay.
So this is a relatively impressive feat of strength.
All right. Before
So
they
now there is a door. Then they have to pick up the door and pull it out of the room because, well, it was meant to open outwards. There's not a lot of space in there, unfortunately.
All right. Before they mess up the body, I want to go in.
All right, so they're basically dragging out the door, and you basically leap over the door as you go in.
And check the proper med check on his body. What
All right.
killed it?
Even before you before you go and you closer to examine the body, yes, this individual is dead.
Some obvious holes.
Just one hole, and it is right here.
One hole or 2 holes.
Oh, just one hole. A relatively large one, too. About that size.
Okay. And what do I think caused that?
Well, you can make a medicine check. The other thing you notice is the body does seem to be somewhat desiccated, I think is the word you're looking for.
Lacking in blood.
And, all right, roll your medicine check.
12.
12, okay. The body looks withered and desiccated and does look like there is no blood on the inside of the wound, and there's no blood on the body, despite the fact that that's a relatively large hole near a major artery.
Yes.
Also, the bone inside seems to have been damaged a little bit.
So something really hit this person with force.
Yeah.
And drained it of blood.
And, yep, it's definitely a hole of something piercing through there. With considerable force.
Is this their missing guy?
That is indeed Joffrey. Also, just from the look of that, you think that he's basically almost been flung backwards, you think, possibly from the blow.
Alright.
So this is obviously woken them a little bit out of the drunken stupor they're in.
I want to specifically pay attention to her during this.
Okay. You can roll an insight check if you want.
$15.
You think stunned silence might be the best word to describe what's going on. Her reaction.
So, her body language or whatever, does it seem appropriate for a young lady not really, experienced with the world, or, I don't know, something about her just strikes me as really odd.
Alright, what did you roll again?
15.
There's something a little off about her body language. Then again, you don't know her very well, so she's basically a complete stranger, but just going off of what you've seen of the average people, this is not how the average person reacts to a dead body.
Yeah.
But your roll wasn't that high.
No, it was not. I bet you didn't prepare to detect thoughts, did you?
I did not. While you're looking around, you notice that Reynard doesn't seem terribly concerned about someone he's been traveling with for apparently a week is just playing dead here. Here.
Yeah, it's only been a week.
By contrast, the other three are a little... basically, you think they're in shock, mostly, at this point. Because they... admittedly, they admit looking at the fact that he has been gone 2 hours, apparently, according to what Reynard said.
Yep.
And they didn't think to go looking for him the entire time, and now they found his dead body. Clearly secluded into a room that was meant to be made difficult to get into, to hide the body.
Yeah, alright, I'm going to try shaking him up a little bit more. And say, well, we seem to have a murderer or monster in the premises. Think maybe we should go look?
I assume you're trying to get either a reaction or trying to convince them to go along with this?
I don't want a reaction. I want to see, we gotta get these guys out of their stupidity somehow.
Right. You can roll a persuasion check.
8. -1. 7.
Alright. I'm going to see how they respond to that, but bear in mind I'm modifying it based on your roll, which was below 10. That is a very interesting roll. Well, I was going off these reaction rolls. Reynard speaks up that he thinks that is an excellent idea and believes that the only reason that they haven't, if something else is in here, trying to pick them off, the only reason they haven't been so far is because they've been staying together in one room as a group, and it wasn't willing to attack them all. he thinks it's a good idea that we all search this place together. Lila, also, after hearing that, thinks that's also an excellent idea. The 3 mercenaries, on the other hand, rolled the lowest out of that. Despite the fact that this is basically their comrade, they think the fact that it says, I think it might be a better idea. This is what Frederick speaking at this point. It says, if we try and if we go back to the dining room, barricade ourselves in there until the storm passes, and then leave as soon as we are able to do so. It says, under normal circumstances we would be willing to, but we do have, this is here Percival speak up, but well, we do have 4 civilians here after all to keep in mind of.
Civilians?
I think it's 4 of us. You and I, Reynard and Lila, I think, are the ones that he's referring to.
I laugh at that.
Godfrey says, yes, I think that's a good idea. We should definitely, he says, we should all go back to the dining room, barricade ourselves in there until the storm passes. He says, that seems like the most sensible option to me.
Alright, you guys go barricade yourselves in there. I'm gonna have a look around.
They also all seem to be, well, they seem that there's no issue with us leaving, but all 3 of them are basically saying that Lila should stay with them in the dining room, barricaded in there. Okay. I was going to see if she... She seems to be willing to go along with this.
A little Rainer.
He basically gives them all a look of disgust, her included, and seems to be coming with us.
Alright.
So, the 4 of them go back, presumably to barricade themselves into the dining room.
Yep.
That leaves the 3 of us standing here in the kitchen with the open door into the pantry.
Alright. Reynard.
So, I say, speaking up here, the question is, did the murderer just leave this room with one of the 4 of them? Or are we dealing with something completely different here?
Yeah, from our perspective,
Yes.
2 options. The murderer is barricaded in the room with 3 victims, or the murderer is with us, or there's a monster somewhere.
Or the thing we are not talking about, the 4th option, with the fact that the murderer is standing in the same room with us now.
Oh, I already did that one.
Oh, yes. Basically, yes. We're both thinking the fact is either it's one of the 5 remaining people who were in this house before we entered,
Yes.
or there's some other creature here at the moment that we don't know about.
Yes. I'm gonna turn to Reynard.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask him, at any point in time while you're sitting by the fire, did one of those 4 leave the room except to put out the fire?
He says, I think Lila did leave the room with them to go see what was going on. They seem to be rather protective of her, keeping her around them at the moment. But again, they do seem to be besotted with her.
She went with them to put out the fire?
She went out into the foyer with them as they left, but she didn't go out into the room. But she didn't go out, no. I basically was not very interested in in keeping a watch on them. I went back to the fire to fortify myself.
Alright, so that means, well, the 3 of them are out trying to put buckets on this fire. She was left by herself, and you were in by the fire.
Yes. And while we're just going on that, it says the 2 of you were who knows where.
Yes.
It says, making it quite clear the fact that you have just definitely lumped him in as a suspect in this investigation, so he's doing the same to us. Well, I do believe we've thoroughly searched the ground floor.
Yep, let's head upstairs. We need to find a method that the killer is either getting in and out of this place,
Or we need to find. I say, or we need to find some proof that it is one of us.
Yes, or a monster.
There's
Alright,
a few options here. Yes, I do say that.
I'm gonna roll an investigation check for upstairs.
Okay.
23.
Yeah. So as we head upstairs, you can move on to the next graphic now.
This is a mess.
So, this is not the only room on this floor, but as we are moving around, most of the rooms on this floor are basically bedrooms.
Yep.
Except for the fact that we come into this looks like a cross between a library and a study, and yes, this has definitely seen better days.
Wow. Oh, poor books.
Yes. The three of us, well, at least for the two, you and I are obviously in mourning for the fact that with all the books that have been damaged here. There's still a few shelves that are intact, but the books are all pretty worse for wear. And Reynard isn't able to disguise the fact that even he, as a wizard, is saddened by this loss.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say it out loud. Oh no, the poor books! And I'm gonna investigate.
There is a lot of damp and mildew in this room as well, so like books do not stand up to that very well.
I'm gonna look to see if any.
There's also a fireplace in the on the north wall of this room.
Yeah.
Unlike how it is in the picture, it is not lit.
Okay.
It's been cold for a long time.
I am going to try and search this room to see if any of these books are salvageable.
Right.
Do you have magic prepared?
I do not have it prepared, but if you want me to take 10 minutes, I'll be happy to cast it.
Yeah. While I'm searching and checking these books over, you can do
Alright, so I'm going to sit in the corner with my spellbook out, ritual casting that. So Reynard decides that he'll assist you with searching the room while I do that. So still roll with advantage.
Oh, that's not the 23?
What? No, this is a separate roll.
That's gonna be lower then. It's gonna be a dirty 20.
Okay. Alright. So while I'm taking the 10 minutes to cast my ritual spell, you start sifting through, which is basically the pile of mush, for all intents and purposes, of what is the center of the room now. These are mostly shelves which have basically, you think at some point here, there would have been like a few rows of shelves with books on them that you could walk down between, like in a library normally, and take books off of. But at some point, they seem to have lost their integrity and collapsed on top of each other into the pile, in the mess that is now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've actually ever seen books really destroyed by mildew and damp and rot. Or not.
No.
But it isn't pleasant.
I am going to try and focus most of my attentions actually on the bookshelves, at least in the image, seem to be more intact in the corners.
Yes, so the bookshelves in the corner are largely intact.
Okay.
The books are not in as good care. But there. Most of these are books on what appear to be local histories, local particular events. A few of these seem to be business ledgers. You maybe think that maybe whoever lived here originally may have been a merchant.
Yep.
There's a few other pleasure reads here. But as you're looking around, basically, as I'm almost nearing the end of my ritual,
Yep.
you and Reynard both notice that the fireplace, while it is indeed cold,
Yep.
there's a lot of soot and ash in the fireplace at the moment. And there is what looks to be like a few pages of paper in there as well.
Okay. Have a look at them.
Okay. So the fireplace is cold, and the ashes probably haven't been swept out in who knows how long. So this is just left here from the last time it was in use.
Someone try to burn something.
Yep. So you take out some of the pages,
Yep.
which is basically just a few corners, basically, of what it would have been probably about 3 pages of a surviving book or notes or something.
Yeah. Can I discern anything that was written on them?
So, as the two of you are looking through there, it's basically at this time my spell is finished, so I'm going to do my little search of the room. You look through the pages, and they seem, as far as you can tell, most of it is illegible. There's a few words here. You think this was a book on local folklore, possibly.
Okay.
Specifically dealing with local creatures.
All right.
And it's perhaps unsurprising, given turn of events, that one of the entries you can see there mentions the word vampire.
Okay. So some possible vampire-ish type person, creature has destroyed a book about itself. Possible.
It's hard to tell. It says you rolled really high, which is why you're getting that much information. But unfortunately, whoever burnt burnt the pages here and papers did a good job. There's only a few scraps left.
Okay. During my search, if I found an intact book that kind of gave a general history of this region, I'll take it and I'll just put it in my bag of holding.
Okay, easy enough to do. There's you can find one that is relatively well intact. You think it's a really old book, basically. But it hasn't been completely destroyed by
Okay.
the
I just
damp.
want to keep it. Do some research later on.
Okay. As I am surveying through this room, I say I don't detect anything magical in here.
Okay, I'm going to walk around, and at some point, when you're looking my direction, and Reynard is between us, and he's not looking at me, I'm going to point at him.
You want me to try and scry him for magical items?
Without me saying anything. Yeah.
Okay, so as you pass by him, I just look around and I just do a nod, but that's about it. That's all you can really get from that. You think from that he does have something, some thing or things of magical nature on him. Not necessarily unusual for a wizard. Which he seems to be, as far as we can tell. We haven't actually seen him cast any spells yet.
That's alright.
But he does have... We've had time to look at him. He does have long robes. Black robes. He does have a dagger. And he has what looks to be a component pouch like the one I carry.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just being careful.
So as we're looking around here, and we're just looking through everything, we do hear a scream from the floor below.
Has Alice pointed anything out of interest?
No. I say, but I think we should go and see what that was anyway.
Alright. We head back downstairs.
The three of us head out back down the stairs, and that's going to be a good place for us to take a break.